Before we start this episode, we want to do a quick disclaimer. This is a mental health podcast and we are not professionals. These are our opinions and personal experiences on mental health. That being said, we do discuss sensitive subjects.
This is our official trigger warning for our episodes. We are a mental health podcast, and we did want to give a trigger warning to any viewers or listeners that may be sensitive to any topics we might bring up. We do not hold back on the podcast. We will be discussing every corner and in and out, the dark and light sides of mental health, mental illness, and those struggles. So thank you for tuning in. This is your final trigger warning.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning back in the next level. Why do I want to say level?
Were you going to say it again for real? Oh my god, I thought you were joking.
No.
I thought you were literally making a joke.
Alright. Hi, everybody.
Sorry. You were just saying it and not even realizing it.
I know.
Like, I was like, you're saying level.
I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no point in this that could even sound close to level.
I'm like, I know.
Alright. Cheers. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning back into the next episode of the Rock Bottom Podcast. Friendships Part 2.
Friendships Part 2.
Let's go. We finally made it.
Yeah, we're back to Friendships Part 2. We got a lot of good feedback from the first episode, so we wanted to dive deeper. I think we knew when we ended that episode that we wanted to do a second one because we couldn't get into everything we wanted to.
Oh, I know. Like, there was so much to talk about. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot to dive into in friendships. We only got into, like, a few red flags, boundaries, which is like the basic stuff. I think there's a lot more to talk about.
Oh yeah, it's such a complex relationship between two individuals when we talk about like
just
a friendship.
Any relationship is like so hard to navigate. I think I do want to say we have like our friendship bracelet stuff on the pod. We're making friendship bracelets today in honor of the Eras tour kicking off again. In a couple days this Friday. So we wanted to make friendship bracelets. That's why we placed Friendships Part 2 right on this week. We really just want to like get in the mood for friendship.
Yes.
So
can you believe she's gonna be so close?
Yes, I know. I was gonna wear this to the tailgate, so that's why I'm wearing it. But I was gonna like make a couple other pieces too, like for the outfit, but after Vienna, I don't even know if they're allowing tailgates for the concert anymore. I know they weren't allowing it in England, so I don't know if they are for Miami. I kind of don't even want to risk it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully maybe a couple viewers will like reach out and be like, yeah, it's still happening, or no.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, like cool. Any Swifties, if you guys know if you're going to any of the tailgates on the US leg, let us know. We want to tailgate Miami, which is Florida. She's gonna be in Florida for her first stop. That's so exciting. Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And I'm really excited to make these friendship bracelets. I think I've only done this like once in my life, so it's gonna be
Gucci Dom picked out over there.
I do.
You're gonna put Gucci Dom.
My favorite song, Mastermind.
Okay, is that your favorite song?
It is my favorite song on my favorite album.
So you have a favorite?
Unpopular opinion, yes.
No, Midnight's is so good.
Yeah, but why don't we talk about this? Didn't you tell me a lot of Swifties don't?
Yeah, like I feel like it got ignored a little bit and like overlooked. I really liked Midnight's. Yeah.
Meet me at midnight.
I think it has so many good songs.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, I can talk about this all day. Into friendships.
Yes, let's get in the zone here. This is gonna be. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah,
a lot to talk about. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, that we didn't get a lot done, or we couldn't dive deep enough into the first episode.
The time that we had.
Yes, absolutely. And we realized towards the end, we were like, we still have so much to talk about. We're already way over time.
And we got a lot of feedback after the episode too, so that just kind of reaffirms we want to hear more of friendships. So we
realized how important of a topic this was to people, and it's not something that's easily talked about either. A lot of people, don't understand the complexity of a friendship, the dynamics of a friendship, the levels of understanding
of relationships in general. I feel like people just take it lightly, like, oh, this is just my friend, when it's like, I think like every relationship is to be treated with like a certain amount of care and respect. And a lot of people like think friends are just little like bracelet charms to just like add on and not treat with care, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I think we've just developed a loose term for the word friend, and it doesn't hold as much weight as it did in the past.
To me, like, I want friends, that are loyal, that respect me, that have my back, that I can trust when I'm not in a room and they are and my name's mentioned or whatever it is. Like, I know you were talking about that a little off screen, that you it's kind of like a deal breaker for you is when friends don't defend you when you're not around.
No, that is one of the things I probably hate the most.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know that when I'm not in the room, you're going to defend me.
Yeah,
Don't be one of those
loyalty.
people that, you call yourself my friend, and then you go in front of other people that are talking shit about me, and you just sit in silence. Or
Yeah,
you
I
add
think,
on to what they're saying. I feel like that just fuels.
especially add on.
Yeah.
I think like sitting there is crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only time I've sat, unless like I was, in the wrong and doing something, talking about something I shouldn't have been talking about, but a couple times that I've sat, and heard gossip and I just have sat there and not said anything or added is usually because the person they're talking about I don't know well enough and I'm analyzing. I know that like I feel like when you start dating someone, people talk shit to you about that person.
Absolutely.
And so like that happens to several people like I've talked to, but it also happened with you.
Mm-hmm.
And people would talk shit in groups around me, and like I think they were all trying to kind of like convince me like you're bad or something.
Yeah.
Well,
but likewise too. I mean,
that happens to everyone. Yeah.
And they just love like tearing down something before it even happens. So
Right.
you're like, it's not gonna work. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I do remember staying silent on a couple of those conversations because I didn't really know you well enough.
Yeah.
And like I was analyzing like what they were saying, but I realized really quickly after the last time I hung out with them is that like, it's just shit talk. Sometimes it's just shit talk. That's what we talked about that in the friendships episode and then the gossip episode.
Yeah.
That like you have to like, have your own discretion of if you think it's shit talk or it's a warning.
Legitimate, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we did mention that really heavy in the first episode that it can be a good warning sign and you should take that with weight.
Yeah.
But you have to be the one to make that judgment.
Yeah.
You can't let other people's opinions on people really.
Right. So it was kind of just like put it on the shelf in the back of my mind and then like realized very quickly that it was just gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we need to take chances on people.
But like you were saying, if you're friends with somebody or you're in a relationship with somebody and like you're not speaking up for them when they're not in the room, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
I need to know that you have my back.
Yeah.
Then.
How are you supposed to tie this shit together? I can't tie this shit. Hold on.
I think I'm gonna tie it in at the end, like the blue, because I feel like I don't know, like I'm gonna like twirl it in like that.
Put it over the beads.
Like just like something like that.
At the end, after the beads are on.
Oh wait, no, that wouldn't make sense.
After the beads are on.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. Let me do that now. Yeah, just be. Our voice is so huge when it comes to our character, when it comes to who we are as human beings. We need to remember that, and I am one that had to grow in that area for sure. Like I didn't really know how to stick up for the people in my life. I didn't know how to be a voice of reason. Yeah. And my friends really hammered it down in my head that like, hey, like I need you to stick up for me. I need you to be accountable. And if it wasn't for them telling me that, I wouldn't have grown as a person. So it's really big to be able to communicate, and
communication's huge. I think we should get into that a little bit because communication and miscommunication, because yes, all sometimes it takes to save a relationship is a little bit of communication. And if they would have just understood each other's sides, maybe they would have had more grace, or maybe the relationship would have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I watch this happen like every day. I feel like I watch people, I hear people, tell me their side, and this person tells me their side, and all I can think is both of you guys think each other is trying to hurt each other when you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Like both of you are having your own internal issues and projecting, and you think that you're attacking each other, but you're not.
Yes.
So like almost all the time it feels like people are fighting because there's a miscommunication or there's a misunderstanding, furthermore than a miscommunication, because maybe we communicated something to the best of our ability and the other party still doesn't understand what we're saying.
Oh my goodness.
Or still doesn't understand where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And they think this happens all the time, especially with BPD and in our relationship it happens. I think it happens to everyone. You just have to have a level of patience and understanding that you're willing to talk about it. And it takes time, and it's tedious, and it's annoying, but you have to talk about it. Otherwise, you're going to have this unsettled resentment and tension in the relationship, or you're just not going to talk.
Yeah, no, of course. And that happened. You said it perfectly. It happens with us too. Like, you'll tell me something, and I'll be like, oh my God, she hates me.
Yeah, and I do that too. Like,
and yeah, vice versa, absolutely.
You could literally be like, I just need space. I need a couple minutes right now because I just want to think about this. And I'm hearing he doesn't want to be around me. Like, he doesn't want to, like, be with me right now. He's rejecting me. He wants to, like, be alone. Like, that's, like, how I hear it.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what you said. And this happens all the time. And that kind of seems like an obvious, extreme example. But let me give it even, like, I feel like a more common example, or, you know, I guess one that's, like, more subtle, you know what I mean? I just feel like there can be miscommunications where someone's trying to communicate something because there's a valid concern, and the other person just takes it as an attack, or, like, to get their feelings hurt. Like, hey, Taylor, I love your Eras Tour concerts, but I can't be in that many people or that much noise, so I will just watch it from home, or I just won't go because I love you, but, like, I can't go to those concerts because my ears, or because my anxiety. And is Taylor Swift gonna be like, you don't want to come to my Eras Tour concert?
Yeah.
Like, how rude. Like, she must hate the concert. She must think it's terrible. The concert must not be good enough. The show sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, I can't think of anything but stupid, crazy examples unless they're real life situations. But, like, that's what happens all the time in communication. We tell someone something with a valid reason as to why we can't do that, or we won't do that, or we don't like that, and they take it as an attack or an insult personally. It gets taken personal. And I feel like being offended is, like, one of your number one enemies in your life, because if you're constantly offended at everything that's happening and everything everyone's saying, you're gonna think everybody's out to attack you, hurt you, or, like, not looking out for you when they might be, or maybe they're just looking out for themselves. And they're trying to communicate that. And it's, in turn, it might be something that you kind of don't like, but that doesn't mean it's personal.
Yeah. And not everything has to be an attack either. Like, I know we both are advocates for, you know, changing the victim mentality and getting away from, you know, communication that doesn't have to be so attack oriented. And I know as men, like, we really like to pull that card, like, oh, you're just being a victim. But I've seen grown men, and this is coming from a man himself, you know, we really talk about, like, getting into, like, sports and stuff.
Yeah.
If I just say, like, I'm an Eagles fan to, like, a Dallas Cowboy fan, oh my God, they take it like the world just ended. So, like, I don't want a man to be like, oh, you're just a victim, like, get out of that mentality, like, shut the fuck up. Like, you literally, if I tell you that I'm a fan of this team and you're a different fan, you think the whole world just changed. I just think we need to really know what the term victim is and stop using it so loosely.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we as people will put labels on everything, and I think we need to get rid of that label and get rid of, you know, putting labels on everything when we're just expressing emotions.
Yeah, but also, like, if you're talking about, like, diagnoses and stuff, the labels can help, or, like, the annoying therapy words that, like, I know some people that get annoyed by, like, the word safe or woke or perceptions, like, my perspective. Like, people get annoyed, my experience, people get annoyed by, like, those type of, like, therapy words, quote unquote. But I just think it's the best way to thoroughly and realistically explain them sometimes.
Oh, for sure. I think labels can be very beneficial, especially when, like, you know, you said
Labels
they help
can help
you.
if you use them correctly.
Yes.
Like, I think labels are misused. I don't think labels are bad. I think we misuse them and we hyper focus on them. I think labels are meant to help. Like, a diagnosis is meant to help you understand something. A label is meant to like, give something a name, a title, and understand it, to be able to work with it better.
Yes.
Not, like, to label something and be like, oh, that's just why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
Like,
then you're hiding behind the label.
I just have anxiety.
Yeah.
That's using the label in a way that I think it's not meant to be used.
Could you almost say you're weaponizing the label?
Yes, absolutely. I would. You're kind of using more labely words, like the weaponized stuff.
Yeah.
But that's funny. But
Oh, but it's true.
No, it's true. Like, yeah, that is. It kind of is, like, weaponized vocabulary looking.
Labeling, yeah.
Weaponized labels.
Anyway, like, I didn't want to like stray too far away from our topic by bringing that up. I just thought it was very important when we're getting into a culture that likes to put labels on everything. We need to be reminded that certain labels don't need to be used so loosely for everything.
Yeah.
Like victim mentality, like when we're just expressing our emotions. That's basically what I was getting at.
Yeah. Okay.
I think emotions can be valid, and you know, we need to be able to communicate our emotions without, you know, safely.
Looks really good.
Thank you.
Nice.
Appreciate that.
Good job.
I'm trying.
I'll show the camera. I'm gonna do big reputation.
Big reputation.
Oh, you and me.
Got big reputation.
Let me dive deeper into this attack thing. I think we spend a lot of time. We have to remember that, like, we're all in our own worlds and we're all experiencing life from our point of view. We're all experiencing life from our perspective. We're all our own main character. Like, if you're watching a movie, if everyone's life was a movie, the person's life, whoever the person's life is, like, that's literally the main character.
Yeah.
And we have to remember it that way. We can't forget that other people, everyone is literally like in their own world and experiencing their own life. And one of their only jobs is to take care of themselves, like, is to worry about themselves, is to be a little selfish. You know what I mean? So, like, there are times when we have to be selfish and times to be selfless. And when I think, you know, you can call this selfish, whatever you want to call it, but I think it's just healthy to make sure you have boundaries, to make sure you're communicating what you need, to tell people, hey, I kind of struggle with these few things. So if you could be patient with these few things, or if we could do these things like this, that would really help me. And that's good communication, telling your friends and your family or your partner, this is what I struggle with, and so this is what I need, and this is what will help me. That's good communication. And that person's trying to actively work on it and not just use the label as like a something to hide behind or to not change.
Yes, communication is, you know, really vital, especially when we're getting into a society that's very inclusive with technology. I think, you know, it's very important that we do communicate our needs and what works for us when we have...
That's what the labels are for. Yes. Is to tell you, hey, this is what I struggle with. Let's talk about it and figure out how to, like, work around it. Like, not that's like, what I think labels are for.
Because I have this label.
Yes.
Talk to me because I have
not like, oh, she's crazy because she has this label. Like, oh, okay, so she has BPD. She struggles with this, this, and this. Let's do this. Like, this would help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just on our dynamic, I know the way I communicate, if I just say, like, hey, love, I just need to take a little bit of time. I love you. I just want to communicate that, you know, I'm going to go think about everything that we just discussed, and I'm going to come back to the conversation.
Reassurance.
Versus, I need space from you. This is too much for me.
Like, bye.
Yeah. I'm going to go drive.
Right.
Like, I'm going to disappear for a little bit.
Right. The To Be Better podcast actually talks about this, where they'll be fighting and they'll be like, I need a break. I'm going to go get your favorite milkshake and my favorite fries. I'll be back in 20 to finish this argument. Goodbye. Yeah. Like, and it's like, there's a level of reassurance. I'm like swinging scissors around. Sorry. There's like a level of reassurance that I think needs to take place in communication too. And you are not above reassurance. Let me make this clear. You are not above reassuring your friends. You are not above reassuring your partner. That is not like an insecure, ugly, unhealthy thing to do. Reassurance is important and vital. I think it's also like a big tool that is useful and necessary for a lot of mental illnesses like BPD, people that need reassurance, people, you know, with anxiety that might need reassurance. Hey, I know you're struggling with this. It's okay. We're going to figure it out. Like, there's a key importance to kind of, I wouldn't say sugarcoating, but starting that communication with some reassurance when it's kind of a hard conversation. Hey, I love you. I love hanging out with you. And I care about our friendship enough to communicate about this. If I didn't care about the relationship, I would just ghost you, or I would just not talk about this, or I would just let it be brushed under the rug and let the relationship die. I'm communicating because I love you. And it's like, it's okay to be the bigger person. It's okay to be the first person that calls. It's okay to be the first person that texts and fixes it and says sorry first if maybe the other person struggles with apologies more. That's not a reason that's justified and okay for them not to apologize, but maybe you have to be the bigger person and be like, this person has struggled because of trauma in their childhood. They have a hard time saying sorry. I'm going to say it first. Maybe that will help them say it too. Yep. And if they don't say it too, then maybe that's another conversation you need to have. Like, and they're just like taking that I'm sorry and like, yep, you're wrong. That's different than like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry too. Like, that's another thing I think you would run into and have to like think about and decide.
That was incredible. And wow, you hit some really key points.
I wanted to dive deep into that. Like,
yes, I was not expecting that. And you really honed in on, reassurance, and reassurance is huge. Yes. And I really want to dive a little deeper into that, because in the book Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, I think I gave it to you a little bit. Okay. He really discusses in there, and I don't want you to think reassurance is like a bad thing, because I know a lot of people have like a certain stigma around it, that it's like, oh my God, you need to be reassured. No, we've been doing this for years in business, in any type of setting. You are not supposed to flatter people, but when you do open up conversation in business, you are supposed to, start the conversation with, hey, I really like your painting. Oh my God, your house is beautiful. Oh my, like, you're supposed to start with like a compliment, compliment people, and then open your conversation.
Well, in business, that's kind of like a sales tactic to like butter them up and then get the sale. But it's kind of the same concept. I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's a little bit more manipulative in marketing and in sales because it's for sales. But it's the same concept. Like, yes, like it's human psychology, it works. So like follow it. Like they do that in marketing because it's human psychology, is basically what I'm saying, and that's why they do it and it works. So like I think reassurance is important. Hey, Dom, I love you and you're a great boyfriend and you've done A, B, and C today that like really helped, but like, I just want to talk about this.
I'm already ready to listen to what you're about to say.
He's already complimented, feels good, feels like he's a good boyfriend. He knows going into this conversation, I don't hate him. He knows going into this conversation, I'm not thinking about breaking up with him because of the issue I'm communicating. And also how you say things. I know we haven't even gotten into this. You have to be nice. You can't be rude. You can't just treat people however you want and expect everyone to be okay with that. You can't just like say whatever you want, say something passive aggressive. Passive aggression is not communication.
It's not. It's toxic.
Passive aggression is actually the result of poor or lack of communication.
Love that.
So passive aggression is not okay. Something that should be happening in relationships, communicate. Like, use your big boy words, use your big girl words. You're a big girl, you're a big boy. Like, I feel like I have to gentle parent some of these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, use your words. You can't just snap. You can't just say what you want to say. You can't just be mean. You can't just treat people like garbage. Use your big boy words. Use your big girl words. What's wrong?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
allow yourself to tear down those societal standards of like not being able to say what's wrong because people might get annoyed. If they get annoyed, they're not your friend to begin with.
That, and well, but like maybe they do get annoyed because you're communicating it wrongly, or you're being rude, or this whole thing with like they should know better. Yeah. They should know. What? Yeah. You know what I mean? No, they shouldn't. Like, okay, maybe there is some things that like you're like, you have deal breakers, you have standards for, like, my partner, my friend better know this if they're going to be in a relationship with me. If that's a deal breaker for you, that's your deal breaker. Don't be friends with people that do those things. But there's also like people aren't going to read your mind, and you have to communicate, and people were raised in every different kind of situation. So like something that you think is normal might be like something they've never heard of.
Yeah, this comes back to miscommunication.
Yes.
Cultural miscommunication is huge too. Like you just said, like how we're raised.
Cultural influence on how you think about things, and then like people clashing when they're adults. And it's like, just because we all had extremely different childhoods. Absolutely. Of course, I don't know how you're thinking.
That's been huge for us too with our communication, because you were raised in like a very tight knit, Christianity household, and I was raised in a more free flowing, open conversation, express your emotion.
We've had a lot of opposite like traumas, a lot of like, and they clash really hard.
Oh, they do clash.
We do have like a lot of things we've had to really work on, because like I really don't like space, and I get rejected easily, and I don't like to be alone, and I'm clingy, I want to be with you all the time. Whereas he's like, I need space, I need a second to process this, I can't communicate right now, this is overwhelming, this is too much. And I'm like, oh, like we have to talk. And so like that's just an example of like how we're opposite on a few things.
Yes.
And sometimes it clashes, and sometimes we have to work on that. To me, the only thing in life that is black and white is choices.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the alternative? Your choice right now is to either fix the relationship or not.
Yes.
What's more important to you, your pride or the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to fix the relationship? Do you want to keep this person, or do you want to further hurt them and damage the relationship? And by the way, if you're going to continue the relationship, that doesn't mean you get to continue to hurt their feelings and treat them like trash and hope that it's okay. Like, you have to either fix things and treat each other correctly or don't. And it's like, what's more important to you?
Yeah, really sit down and understand like what communication works and what communication style works for each other. That way, moving forward,
So you can compromise.
we don't blow up. We don't like have compromise.
Yes, and
Compromising is huge, and we need to understand each other on a spiritual level and really, create a bond.
And a traumatic level. Like, people have issues, understand that. You know what I mean? And
don't create a friendship, create a bond, a lasting bond. I think that's more deeper and that will last longer than just putting a label of friendship on each other, where you can get raw and vulnerable with each other.
Yeah, there has to be a big sense of being in each other's shoes and being like, okay, they're saying that, they're acting like that because of this. Mm-hmm. And understand everything is not at you. Not everything is an attack. Sometimes you're projecting more than they're attacking. So just keep that in mind. And it's like, at the end of the day, what's more important to you? Do you want this friend and you want this relationship? Or do you want to, hold on to this issue?
Mm-hmm.
That's really your two options. Your two options are fix it like an adult or don't talk.
Yeah.
Those are your options. And the other option is not continue the relationship and be petty and fight and hurt each other all the time.
The way I looked at it and really wrapping up this episode, I feel like I either had to hold on to my pride and ego or really understand humans on a spiritual level, understand people on an ego death. I think when I really got to get rid of my ego and get rid of my pride, that's when I started to lower those boundaries and let people in. And I think when you
ego death,
yes, when you get rid of ego and you set that aside, and then you really start to see things from other people's perspectives and start to understand people and what they're experiencing emotionally, that's when you start to really understand humans on a more beautiful level. That's when you understand each other. That's when you can have stronger bonds, is when you can remove those things out of your life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's huge. I think we've covered a lot of good points this episode. I almost want to do like a part 3.
I know.
But
we will. I think we're going to do a series with this, and I think we should do a series with communication as well. I just think there's so many key points we can really bring up in these areas, and so many things that people need to know.
I think we are going to do a series, like you said, on communication and friendships and maybe relationships. But yeah, we plan on doing some series and stuff like that. So it's going to get real serious up in here soon.
Yes, it is.
But fun. We're going to keep it fun.
No, we're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it lighthearted.
Show me your friendship bracelet.
Yes.
What'd you end up with?
I ended up with Gucci Dom Mastermind. And I think that's our main message in this podcast is we want to keep it lighthearted. We don't want to scare people away. But we have a strong message that we're trying to send. And
that's important.
We need to remember our message through and through.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Love your friends.
Love yourself first. And then love your friends.
I got shunned.
This way? No. That would be my reading. I think we need to do it the opposite way for them to see it, right?
I don't know. But you're almost done and I pretty much just started. That's pretty much how our relationship is all the time.
You take your time.
I'm really thorough and I take my time. And well, it's not even that I'm thorough. I just take my time. We love you.
Anyway, Gems, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. As always, we love you so much.
If you're going to the Eras Tour, have fun. It's going to be a great week.
Yes.
Mwah.